I am obsessed with documentation. Any thought that is mildly interesting, a musical idea, a beautiful sunset. The ephemerality of my every living moment is a grief that I feel in real time. I have a remarkable memory for detail. A funny joke, or a random little piece of their life someone once shared with me. The feeling of a particular pair of lips against my own, or the way a cascade of light falling through a certain window in my room made me feel in the summer of my 15th year. But these memories are not readily accessible to me. They arise seemingly of their own accord, in conjunction with my mood and surroundings, or entirely unrelated. When these memories arise, memories that I wouldn't have thought to look for, I consider that I would never have noticed forgetting them. This compels me to record, to write them down, however seemingly inconsequential they may be, for fear of losing them again. I back up these records of my memories, my songs, little art projects, onto multiple hard drives. In the event that my memory should fail, and my record should fail, redundancy will prevent the thoughtless destruction of a moment. Nothing lives forever, not even the universe. This is a thought both easy to say and hard to realize. I don't think most people are capable of imagining nothingness, their own non-existence, as beings of perception. I have a great deal of practice, drilled into me by the ruthless death anxiety that so possessed me for many years as a child. I believe that my gift of some intelligence was more of a burden starting out, and I'm not wholly convinced that it has ever become otherwise. My mind is very active, but the focus of its activity tends to be misplaced, maligned, and self-destructive. I often wonder if my brain wasn't permanently damaged by heavy drug use at a young age. But this wondering doesn't actually do anything to assuage my worries. Rather, it is the seeking of an explanation that I so often partake in, an activity that is ultimately rooted in trying to understand how the past led to the present, what future it might lead to, and how I can minimize my experience of pain in said future. Any knowledge of the past that might be lost to memory and thus destroyed is the sad miscarriage, be it a small piece, of the story the universe tells itself. From a young age, I have been very interested in the early history of humans, an era that our knowledge is surprisingly expansive on, and yet incredibly limited. A bone flute, a cave painting, a broken bone healed, are remarkable artifacts that give us a glimpse into the lives of our ancestors. But I want to know what it was like personally to live in such times, to be a small group in a world that must have seemed infinite, to live in great danger, yes, but free from government and the crushing greed of the corporate will. There are no memoirs of cavemen, only the small, scattered pieces we treat with great care and reverence. Perhaps it is only the hearkening back to simpler times. Some say that in thousands of years we will look back upon our current era with such fondness. If we as a species manage to last that long, I somehow doubt it. What I am looking back upon isn't only a technological barrier. The walls are political, psychological, social, and oftentimes physical, that stand so high between myself and the biological heritage of my species. I often feel a profound sadness at this separation between myself as man and myself as animal, and the knowledge that it can never be wholly bridged. There is no such thing as public land anymore. The extent of our greed as a species has become so all-encompassing that the only way to protect something is to severely enforce restrictions and regulations regarding its use. I cannot, legally, to the best of my knowledge, go anywhere in the USA, build a little hut, catch a few fish, start a fire, and choose to settle down without some straight-backed naysayer interrupting my peace, or physically apprehending me in a matter of time. I find it remarkably strange that this is so unremarkable to so many people, when this has been the default state of our species for most of its history. It is not a matter of owning land, but living in nature as an active participant. At no point in my life did I ever sign away my right to be a creature, but the implication is there in every modern social system. In every plot of public land that is owned by a government and not its people, land that cannot truly belong to any being but the earth, and even that lease being only a temporary one. There is an argument to be made for the brutality of killing and consuming other living creatures. I strongly believe that those who eat meat, who are not willing to bear the moral burden of taking that life, to truly feel with deep empathy the pain and gratitude at the knowledge of what it cost, should not be allowed to do so. And I have great respect for those who actively choose to abstain from meat or limit their intake. No, nature does not mean depraved brutality, not in the same way as a slaughterhouse full of traumatized animals being killed by men who are no longer moved in any meaningful way by the loss of life. Not as a group of teenagers will enforce arbitrary and violent social hierarchies in the absence of supervision, and certainly not in the mass production of neatly wrapped flesh as a commodity purchased by the unfeeling public. Nature is violent, often horribly so, but it will never look you in the eyes with a smile as it sinks the knife into your back. It does not bask in the depravity of its immoral actions. It simply does not partake in such a value system, except insofar as good means life and evil means death. Life is predicated on death, and in that way perhaps everything in this world may contain some little seed of evil. But the game we play is inherently violent. That is no fault of its participants. The fox that chases the rabbit may find some joy in the killing. He may even toy with the poor creature, but he does not do so filled with the willful malevolence we feel as we kill one another and anoint ourselves in the blood of the innocent. No, the game may be violent, but the metagame that has been invented by the human race is something unspeakably deplorable in comparison. This knowledge and its implications are but one of the ways the past has chosen to live through me. The yearning for solitude off by some beaver lake on top of a small mountain, early summer, where the birds sing from dawn to dusk, and the open sky shines with the light of a million spirits from dusk to dawn, where the fish jump all around you, but never where you cast, and it feels almost like a little joke the world is playing on you. This is where I would like to go when I die, when I am finally free from my ties to mankind, the past. I like to imagine that nothing is ever lost forever. Waves of sound, light, echo out into the cosmos, waiting for millions, billions of years, alone in the darkness, for the day that they will all come together again. The moment everything falls into place. To be born anew, or to be forever still. We will never know, and honestly, I prefer it this way. Better, perhaps, to have some glimmer of hope than a grim certainty. God only knows we could use a little. But when I think upon the ending of the universe, aeons after my matter will have already been disassembled and redispersed. The grief I feel is much greater than that at the thought of my own little flame extinguishing. It is the ending of everything as we know it. My own small memories that I hold so dear, and any trace of them that may outlive my body and mind, but also all of history, prehistory, culture, all the good we fought so hard for, and all the pain we inflicted upon one another, the concept of right and wrong, of beauty, time, trees, rivers, sunsets, mountains, the simple sweetness of a stolen moment, and the gut-wrenching guilt, shame, and hope. The past is alive in every way that matters. It breathes, ebbs, changes, just as the present and future do. It acts upon the world with every bit of influence that a living being possesses. It is the value of an education, genetic memory, the art of war and peace. Like greed, the past lives out its will through the beating hearts of the entire planet. We may think we are acting independently, but everything we do is in service to the past, to nostalgia, to memory, for auld lang syne. But like every living thing, the past will die, and I find myself like to be a catcher in the rye, snatching at these moments as they rush past, hoping to rescue them from the maw of oblivion. There is an implicit assumption in this action. Everything is worth saving. I have never truly questioned this maxim before in the context of my own life. It is difficult to do so. I am the sum of my genetic material, yes, but also of a great many memories, events, and people that have touched my life, for better or worse, that make me the person I am today. There is another assumption here, that this person is a destination, the answer to the question, who am I? As foolish to say that humans are the evolutionary endpoint. We were just lucky enough, and just barely good enough to survive and edge out the competition. I can't say much more for myself. In reality, I would probably say much less. And yet, in spite of it all, I do look upon the library of my being, this collection of tragedy, melancholy, and yes, beauty, with a great deal of fondness. Why else would I feel so compelled to record my existence? Narcissism is a foreign concept to my mind. It tends to run the opposite direction. But when I go back and listen to my childish voice singing a song 8 years ago, perhaps I feel as if I am staring into a calm pool and finding in that reflection a beautiful flower. This may be the closest I will ever come to loving myself, but for now, It is. I am enough. And the past? It's waiting, just around the next bend in the road. Thank you.